Who do your fists fight for? Which faces have you come to avenge? All of them. Hi everybody and welcome. The time has finally come to review The Tiger and the Wolf. And I'm going to start off by saying, if that shit doesn't send a tingle up your dick, I don't know what will. That line was so hard. Anyway, my name is Riz, and we are finally going to do the review of The Tiger and the Wolf, the final fight between Koshoro and Fusen. I almost called him Garo. And I wanted to make sure that this video got its own special video to encapsulate how special this log was. I did not want it to be a part of some half inebriated stream where I kind of just spoke off the top of my head. I'm still going to be doing that, but we're really going to jump into this. So if you guys don't know, this log is called The Tiger and the Wolf, and it has Fusen, Kalo, and Koshoro. The type is combat, and the arc is the Tiger, Wolf, and the Bear, and this completes the arc. This is the end of this entire Tiger, Wolf, and the Bear arc that happened at Nova's Sanctuary. And the synopsis is very, very short. Koshoro and Fusen finally face one another while Kalo overlooks the battle. I hope that by the time I've recorded this video, everybody has had a chance to go ahead and read it themselves, because if you have not read this log, you are missing out. You are not doing yourself justice. You are missing out on two of the best combat role players going at it head to head. I really have nothing that I can say as far as the words that are on the page. We all know Ike's perfect. Fusen is perfect. Seru is perfect. The only thing that I wish, if I had my own set of real life Dragon Balls, is I would just uproot Seru out of the UK and bring him here to the East Coast. So that way there's not going to be this at least 5-hour gap between when, he's up and eligible to roleplay and when we are. Because, yeah, I wish you could roleplay with us all the time. So why don't you just go ahead, drop out of uni. I know Rendo is kicking one of his kids out soon so that they can go to university. So we know that there's going to be a place for you. So you just leave whatever country you're in, migrate over to Canada, live with Rendo and his family, and then in about 6 to 8 years when you're done role-playing with us, then you can go back and finish school and go on with your life. But for now, you're ours. But yeah, no, this log was the culmination of everything that's been going on in the Nova Sanctuary, the true story that's been going on in Nova Sanctuary. We have, Fusen has been just on this murder rampage for God knows how long, killing what he says hundreds of martial artists. And finally, after he took out the wrong one and he killed Spinna, Koshoro was hot on his tail, and they meet up. And yeah, that line that I read at the beginning was just so perfect. I know that it was in chat OOC that Kosho said that, but I'm just going to take it as canon. It wasn't an OOC. He said that directly. It was great. It was perfect. It was a heroic ass moment. I know in the last video that I did with Yugen and Fusen, I was like, yeah, this is Yugen's heroic moment. Sorry, Khonshu, but Ike, he stepped up and stepped over you and fucking nailed it. And then, the battle ensues, and Koshoro had been planning for this fight, and the fight itself kind of just explodes all over the sanctuary. I mean, it's just perfect, starter level Dragon Ball Z with so many stakes on the line. It looks almost one-sided at one point, and then Fusion busts out his Ki shout. And real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to Kalo for being a part of the log. And this is going to sound really mean, but I don't mean it in a mean way. But Kalo also knew when to just kind of get out of the way while they were letting the big boys have at it. So kind of while things are getting going, Kalo was there the entire time, kind of following behind Fusion, not really tracking or stalking him, but, in their fight, Fusion spared him. So now this childlike bio-android entity kind of has imprinted on him and is kind of following him, doesn't want him to be hurt, also doesn't know if he wants to eat them. So we're getting like this little character story while these two like super forces are about to meet. But once they meet and clash, Kalo responds to the Renzoku Endon. The Koshoro is just spamming energy bolts down from above. He responds to that and kind of gets out of the way and gets blown up and all that stuff. But then when they start kicking, okay, sorry, we are back after technical difficulties. Don't know what happened there. But as I was saying, Kalo was very integral in getting the hell out of the way when the Renzoku Endon, he calls it Scattershot. It's not really Scattershot. It's more the Vegeta like, it's more like that. So when Koshoro was doing that, and he was blowing up everything, and there's all these explosions and it's happening, that Kalo did a really good job of like interacting with that. But when the boys were really going at it, when the Ki shout sent Koshoro blasting through the trees and everything, Kalo kind of just sat back and let them do their thing, let them fight, and let the role play kind of happen. And I don't know if it was like talked about or if it was by design, but that's exactly how you get yourself involved and interact with the role play without kind of getting in the way. Because honestly, like if they had been like everybody's turn and they were kind of like waiting for this person who's not involved to kind of just say that they're watching, it does really kind of take away from the story. But none of that was here. Again, I don't have any tips. I don't have anything to say other than this was just a really great role play. This was a really good job at showing, the characters and how they are interacting with each other and how they're interacting with the story. At the end, Koshoro does win. He does come out on top, but he doesn't take it's not like he takes it lightly, right? He really respects Fusion, maybe a little too much. If there was one thing, there was a line here where I think he says like Fusion might be the greatest martial artist on the planet. I think that's a little much. I think that's there's the let's give him his flowers, but let's not give him the whole flower shop. I mean, we still got to keep it within the realm of the tier system. So I would like to think that there are better masters out there than all of us, but who knows? But yeah, I mean, when Koshoro wins, he goes out of his way to tell Kalo, like, I am not going to kill him. He probably deserves to die, but it was my job and my mission as part of the EDF to just restrain him and take him back, and then he can face the world's justice. But I'm not going to do him any more harm. And it is kind of cute to see how Kalo was very protective of Fusion. It's a weird, like, I don't even want to say like master and apprentice, but that's kind of what it's like coming off as. Like I said earlier, he kind of like imprinted on him, so he's just kind of following him like a little lost duckling. And after the final hit happens, which again, big shout out to Genesis, because the fight actually finishes with the techniques that, well, technically it finishes with the Flash Buster It technically finishes with that, like the shotgun blast. But really, I think this fight ended when Koshiro busted out the sky dancing hurricane kick combo of death and destruction. Name in is a work in progress. But yeah, I mean that was the end of the fight. And again, Koshiro showed the utmost respect to Fusen at the end of this fight. He, didn't talk bad about him, didn't say like, aha, like that's what you get. This is for, he just kind of was like, I could have been you. That's really what I was getting out of this. Like, I could have been you had I awoken in my powers while I was still in the Yakuza, while I was still doing all these awful things. Because, like, imagine somebody doing, like, gang stuff when they have superpowers, right? It could have been a bloody, bloody past. Way bloodier than Koshiro has already. I think he could have been even more deadly than the wolf, because the wolf at some point, and Koshiro even says this, he's like, hey, at some point you were fighting with honor and you were fighting, you were killing, but you were at least challenging these masters and proving yourself they're better. So it wasn't outright murder like you've been doing now. But Koshiro back then probably would have just killed because he could. Piss him off on a bad day, and he'll probably just, lightning your face off. So I'm sure that Ko probably saw a lot of himself in Fusen and was like, hey, if I can turn the other leaf, then maybe you can too. That's why I want you to at least go face justice, and maybe, if they don't murder you right away, maybe you can sit in a cell and repent. Or you want to go again, bro, you know where to find me. So good job, gentlemen. Fantastic work here. And there is one last thing I would like to ask. Like, did we move Legende? Because in the log, it kind of makes it more like where it is in the game. But, I mean, it's always been the big space station hovering over Earth. So I hope we didn't move that, because I always thought that was a cool set piece. But, I mean, whatever. Minor detail. Anyway, I have been Riz. Again, sorry for the blurb there in the middle. You have been you. As always, thank you for your time, and I will see you guys on DBI.